Bonjour everyone! Today I'll be showing you guys a very simple dish that I grew up eating as a kid. My mom would make this for us a lot during mushroom season. But today I'll be showing you guys how to make a very simple mushroom soup. And in Hmong we call this Nceb Hau. And I love this soup just because I love mushrooms. So if you guys like mushrooms, this soup is for you. There's nothing much to it. It's just a very simple mushroom soup. A lot of you guys probably have eaten this already and know how to eat it. You guys probably like to add other stuff to it like meat and tendon and beef in there, but today I'll just show you guys how to make a very simple mushroom soup with cilantro in there. We put lemongrass and pepper in there, and then we just season it with salt. And let me know how you guys like to eat this or what other stuff you guys like to add into this mushroom soup, and let me know what other Nceb dish you guys want to learn how to make. And yeah, let's go ahead and start cooking the mushroom soup, or like we like to call it, Nceb Hau. So let's go ahead and make this. Okay, so here are the mushrooms that I'm using today. You guys can use a variety of different mushrooms that you guys prefer, but these are just the one that I'm using today. So I have some cremini mushrooms here. I also have some oyster mushrooms as well. You guys can find these. I like using these. And I also like using these, they call it like shimeji mushrooms or white beach mushroom. So these works just as well. And then I'm going to use some enoki mushrooms as well. These are like optional. If you guys like, you guys can use these, but it's really up to you. But yeah, I'm just using 4 types today. And then other stuff I'm going to add in there are some fresh chilies that I have here if you guys want it more spicy. And then for essence and for nice aromas, I'm going to add in some lemongrass here as well. And then I'm going to add in some herbs here. And these herbs are, I have some cilantro and some culantro in here, or sawtooth coriander. You guys can use just cilantro, but we're going to use both of these today. And that's pretty much it. And we're just going to season it with salt and a little bit of mushroom seasoning, and then that's about it. So first things first is we want to go ahead and make sure these mushrooms are clean. So I'm going to go clean these, wash some of these, and then chop it off really small to smaller pieces, and we'll start boiling them. Super easy. So let's go ahead and take care of the mushrooms, and then we can start boiling in the soup. Okay, so all the mushrooms are nice and cleaned. Right now I have about 4 cups of boiling water here. And then what we're going to do now is add in the mushrooms. So here are all the mushrooms that I cut up into smaller pieces. You guys can cut it as small as you guys like, or as big as you guys can keep it. Just bite-sized pieces as well. The mushrooms I'm going to add in first are the shimeji mushrooms, the cremini mushrooms, and then I'm going to add in the oyster mushrooms because these take a little bit longer. I'm going to add the enoki's mushroom at the end. So go ahead and add in here. So we are going to go ahead and add in the mushrooms now. So you can see it's not a lot of liquid in here. So what we're going to do now is let this cook down, and once this cooked down, you guys can see how much water it's going to come up to the top. But as of now, we're going to let that cook down, and then we can season it and add in the herbs and aromas in there, and then that's pretty much it. Alright, so it's come up to a boil for a good 5 minutes. As you can see, a lot of the mushrooms have released a lot of its moisture. So now there's a lot of broth, a lot of liquid in here now. So as you can tell, 4 cups of water, just perfectly enough for us. If you guys want a more soupy, go ahead and add more water. But this is perfectly enough liquid for us. So at this point, we're just going to cook this until to your liking. You guys can make this just like this, or you guys can cook it even more. It's up to you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and season this. So the only thing I'm going to season it with is with some salt. I'm going to add in some salt here. I'm just going to add in about a teaspoon of salt to taste. To this, I'm going to add in some lemongrass here. These are the lemongrass leaves that we've saved over the summer, put it in the freezer. You guys can just use the whole lemongrass if you guys have that. I'm going to add this in here for some nice aroma. I'm going to simmer this for a good 2 to 3 minutes just so I can release some of that lemongrass flavor in there. It's smelling nice right now. So yeah, the only seasoning we add in here is salt. You guys can add like bouillon in there, but mushroom already has so much umami in there that you don't really need much seasoning besides salt. But like always, you guys can season however way you guys like it, but this was just how I grew up eating this, with just basically salt. So I'm gonna let that simmer for a good 2 minutes. Okay, it's been a good 2-3 minutes. I'm going to add now is some chili peppers. So here I have slivered some of the chili peppers in half so it can be released into the soup. Go ahead and add those in there. You guys can add as much as you guys want depending on how spicy you guys want the soup. Okay, this is pretty much ready. So now I'm going to add in the rest of the mushroom, which are the enoki mushrooms. You guys can cut these in half if you guys want to. I'm just going to leave a hole. Add those in there. And these don't take long to cook, so I'm just going to leave this in here for a good 1 or 2 minutes. So at this point, this is pretty much ready. You guys can cook this even more depending on how mushy you guys want your mushrooms. I'm just cooking it till it's nicely cooked and the cremini mushrooms are nice and soft. So it's really up to you or preference. At this point now, you guys can go ahead and take this lemongrass out of there and remove it from the soup so that it's easier to serve. So last thing we're going to add is our fresh herbs here. Here I have some culantro that I cut and also some cilantro here I'm going to add in here. You guys can just add cilantro if you guys want to. Totally works just as fine. So I'm going to add that in there. And then right when I add this in here, I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm not going to cook the herbs. I'm just going to let the extra heat kind of welt it out. And this is pretty much ready and done. Go ahead and taste it for saltiness. If you guys want more salt in there, go ahead and add more salt. But other than that, this is pretty much it. You guys can serve this with fresh rice, have it on the side with like barbecue meat, whatever you guys like to eat it with. For our family, so basically we just eat it with rice or super simple, especially when you don't feel like you want to eat anything heavy. So refreshing, so simple and so good and warm, especially for the winter.